Before maybe I allow Inge to kind of comment on your presentation, I think there was one question that was asked multiple times in the chat, and which is about your shared value approach. I think a lot of people are interested in it. Can you maybe tell a little bit more about what that entails, Amy?
Yes, it's about, for us, as mentioned earlier, it's moving beyond CSR. It's looking at your current value chain and where you can engage more responsibly in that value chain. So for us, it was looking at the company's objectives. So that would be, for example, stable and reliable supply. And then looking at development objectives of the corporate foundation, which is to improve agency and capacity and build the capacity of the farmers. So marrying those two and integrating the farmers as business partners, as partners of the group. That's the shared value approach that we were looking at from the beginning of the program until now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Inge, if you listen to Amy's story, what comes to mind? I can imagine you've got thoughts about, how this is an example of an effort of a private company and its foundation to really also shift food systems. And as we have observed, there's an impressive scale that Jollibee Group is able to, work at given its size and the breadth of its whole network of producers and suppliers. What comes to mind when you listen to this example? I'm just interested in a couple of quick reflections from your side before we go to another
just
question
quickly,
from participants.
and I hope you allow me to be a bit critical or raise some discussions that I would like to. Yeah. So I'm really impressed, by your presentation. It's always good also that you include your challenges, because in most presentations that are here, it's always about successes and not about the challenges. But we know working in food systems is very challenging to do so, and I really appreciate that. I also appreciate that you link to the urban areas, because that's mostly forgotten. In many discussions I have, it's about farmers going to markets, and that's where it stops. Nobody's talking about the urban consumer or the hungry cities, that are increasing. So, I would like to know from you, how you incorporated actually this urban area. Is it more to have a market, to sell and have an income, or is it indeed to address the hungry urban population? So that's first. I would also like to know, because this is a kind of network approach, so building network, building trust, and having common values. You can also think about a top-down approach, having standards and regulations, and I'm talking about that because, I also work a lot with a large food companies, for example, who can destroy your whole setup by bringing in millions to advocate for their own products. So my question is, what kind of policies do you need to give more space for this type of interventions to support it, so that it can grow from a niche intervention more to, into the common food systems. And then I was surprised what you say. It's not about whether you can change the food system, but whether you take your responsibility. But my question is still, can you transform the food system, or did you transform? And then I would like to know, if you say yes, based upon what do you say yes? Because that will help us to understand, how to monitor this food system transformation in countries or initiatives that we are doing. So that were three of the, quick thoughts that I have.
Yeah.
Thank
Amy.
you. Yep. First, your question was about urban population, right? So most of our interventions for the Farmer Entrepreneurship Program are really in the rural areas, not actually in the urban. But we have other programs that we implement in the Jollibee Group Foundation, which is more about education, setting up of school kitchens, more on infrastructure, and supporting children, and they're increasing their attendance at school. So for us, as I've said earlier, we operate at a quick restaurant service business. It's not Actually, it's not about hunger mitigation for us initially, but we know that a corporate value chain such as us is a systems actor. So we are not operating in a whole spectrum of the food systems elements. We know that the only thing that we can affect at the moment would be increasing agency of farmers and the upstream, and that's why partnerships are important for us so that we can also learn from them. We can help each other address gaps that we are not able to do in our program. Your second question was about policy, that we need to that we need for this to scale up. So we're fortunate to be in partnership, and we have actually an agreement with the Department of Agriculture. For us, this approach, which we have tested for a very long time, probably 15 years already, would be better cascaded if it has buy-in from the government. So at the moment, we have a partnership with the government to train some of their government officers. And we allow them, through the training program, they're allowed to enable other farming groups. So as mentioned, we are not implementers on the ground, but what we do is build that ecosystem of support with the government there, and also enable the enablers, so that these extension workers, these government agencies, which we are able to train through the ICA, or the agro enterprise clustering approach, are able to now build the capacities of the farmer groups on the ground. So that's our partnership with the government. Your third question was about again?
I asked about whether you contribute to transformation of the food system. And if you say yes, I would like to know, what do you use to say yes? What is the basis of saying
then
yes?
maybe I would say no.
But then I still ask, why are you saying no?
Yes, kidding aside, I don't think we are there yet. As you've mentioned, it should be a nexus of like nutrition, climate, market, agriculture. And as mentioned, we only operate and support in a single element or single unit of that space. There are some system level effect that we are able to change, not really change, to inspire, but we are not yet there in like totally transforming the food systems. I can say that as a restaurant company, we are a complex and relevant actor. It can shape supply chains, it can shape incentives and livelihoods. But to claim that we have transformed the food systems is actually too big for us. There are still tensions, there are still concerns and improvements that we need to look at and implement in the approach.
Thank you very much, Amy. And I think you might actually be a bit modest, because sometimes when we talk about food system transformation, they're very, very big words. And we talk even in global policy discussions, we are talking about such a level of abstraction that I think nobody can claim that they are actually transforming food systems. But food systems are also very, very local. And I think in many kind of places where your company is touching the lives of consumers and farmers, you are either changing the food systems, or you are keeping food systems as they are. There's also some questions around the dietary impacts or the changes that you're making in some of your restaurants. Of course, that's a completely other discussion than the supply chain discussion. I'm just aware that we don't have time for that at the moment, but I really do appreciate the question. And Joanne, let's continue this conversation online on the platform, because I think it's a very relevant question that you asked. Thank you very much, Amy. It's wonderful to get your perspective and also the inspiration that you bring. And also thank you, Inge, for being with us. And thanks to all the participants for, creating a lively learning experience with us. Special thanks for Amy and Inge, Namkulo and Thijs. And see you next week or on the platform. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.